Okay, so here we are on the review. So the first question is basically giving you an expression. Remember, an expression is different than an equation in the sense that we're not going to solve, we're just going to simplify. So when you look at the expression, the first thing you notice is you have this 2/3 being multiplied by the 3x minus 15. So all you're going to do is you're going to distribute. So you have 2/3 times 3x, and that's going to be minus 2/3 times 15y, okay? And then you're going to add to that just 9y minus 11x. Okay, now the fraction stuff, if you can do it in your head, that's fine. I'm just showing you how I do it. So when you're doing the multiplication, remember your 3's cancel out to give you 1, and you're just left with 2x. And then over here, 3 changes to a 1, and that changes to a 5. So you have 2 times 5, which is 10, so minus 10y. And then the 9y and the negative 11x stay the same. Okay, again, it's an expression, not an equation, so you're not solving it. So you look at things that go together. So you've got a positive 2x and a negative 11x. So 2x minus 11x is negative 9x. And then you have negative 10y and positive 10y, which is a negative y. So your answer is answer choice A, negative 9 minus y. Okay, on to number 2. We're solving for C. So this is just a simple two-step equation. So we're going to subtract 6 from each side. 6 minus 6 gives us 0. So negative 5C is equal to negative 29 minus 6 is negative 35. Then from here, you're going to divide by negative 5. That cancels to give you 1. So we have C equals negative 35 divided by 5 is 7. Okay, number 3. Now, again, don't let these confuse you just because there's a fraction. It is still a two-step equation. So when you have a two-step equation with a variable just on one side, your first step needs to be to get rid of the constant. So get rid of that 8 first. Okay, so that gives you n over 3 is equal to negative 2 plus 8 is 6. Okay, now when you get here, remember, you can put your 6 over 1, which gives you a proportion. So in a proportion, cross products are equivalent. So 9 times n, or sorry, n times 1 is n, then 3 times 6 is 18. So n is equal to 18. All right, number 4. Okay, remember, when you look at an equation, you need to be looking for a couple things. First thing you look at is, do I have parentheses? You do have parentheses, so you need to get rid of them. Okay, so 5h minus 7, right? And we distribute the 2, so we have 2h plus 2. Okay, now we have an equation that has variables on both sides. Remember, you can do this a variety of ways. You pick the best way. I'm going to do it a way, and you can check your answer to see if you get the same thing. So I'm going to get rid of my 2h, so I'm going to subtract 2h and subtract 2h. 5h minus 2h is 3h minus 7. That gives you 0 plus 2. Okay, so now all we have is a simple two-step equation. So we're going to add 7 to this side and add 7 to that side. We get 3h is equal to 9. Now we have a one-step equation. Divide by 3. H is equal to 3. Okay, number 5. Same thing. You look at the equation, I see parentheses, so that should be your first order of business is to get rid of those parentheses. So you're going to distribute the 2. So that's 2x plus 6. Then you're going to distribute the 3 plus 3x minus 3. Because remember, a positive 3 and a negative 1 gives you a negative 3. And that's all equivalent to negative 12. Okay, so now we're going to put things together. So 2x and 3x gives me 5x, and 6 and negative 3 gives me positive 3 equals negative 12. Okay, so now we've whittled that down to a two-step equation. Subtract 3, subtract 3. 5x is equal to negative 15. Right? Now we have a one-step equation. Divide by 5. Then we end up with x, those cancel, is equal to negative 3. Okay, number 6. Now this one's asking you that you have a rectangular wall that has a small rectangle cut out to make a window. So this is your wall right here, and this is your window. Okay, and these little marks here mean that this is the shaded location. Alright, so it wants to know the area of the shaded portion. So you're going to find the area of the big rectangle first. Remember, area is length times width. So the area of the big rectangle is 4x times 10. So you have 4x times 10. 4x times 10 is 40x. Okay, now we're going to find the area of the little rectangle. So that's 2x times 4. 2x times 4 is 8x. Okay, so now you know the area of the big, and you know the area of the small. So to get the shaded portion, you're going to take 40x minus 8x is equal to 32x. And that is your answer in most simplified form. All right, 7, functions. So they gave you two functions. They gave you f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 5, and g of x is equal to negative x minus 4. So your first one is saying f, so we're going to plug it into this one. So we're doing it when x is equal to negative 1. Okay, now here's what people have been getting messed up, so let's make sure that you're doing this correctly. You're going to plug it in, so it's 3 times x, which is negative 1, and that entire quantity squared minus 5. Okay, so you do your exponents first. 1 squared, I'm sorry, negative 1 squared is 1. So now you have 3 times 1 minus 5. So that's 3 minus 5, which is 2. Okay, the second one is g of negative 6. So that means we're going to plug it into here. All right, now a distinction to make is that this right here, this negative x, that's basically saying the opposite of x. So it's negative, and your x is negative 6 minus 4. The opposite of negative 6 is just positive 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. Okay. All right, the third one. You're taking f of negative 2 minus g of 1. So we're going to do each one individually. Let's do the f first. So f of negative 2 is equal to 3 times negative 2 squared minus 5. Okay, 3 times negative 2 squared is 4 minus 5. So 12 minus 5 is 7. So this is 7. Okay, now let's do g. So g of 1, okay, so it's the opposite of of x, minus 4. So negative 4, or minus 1 minus 4 is negative 5. Okay, so you're saying f of negative 2 minus whatever g of 1 is, which is negative 5. So you have 7 minus a negative 5, which is the same thing as 7 plus 5. So that should be 12. Okay, number 8. This one's kind of a doozy, so just kind of stick with me. All right, there's a lot of ways you can do this. I'm just going to show you one way, okay? When you're looking at this, first of all, you see that you've got parentheses. You want to get rid of those. Okay, my 14 stays the same, so I'm going to carry it down. Okay, negative 1/5 times x is negative 1/5 x. Negative 1/5 times negative 1/5 times negative 10 is equal to positive 2. Right. So this side, we're doing 2/5 times 25 is 10. And then 2/5 times x is 2/5 x. Okay, so now before we start taking stuff away from each side, we want to look and see if we can put anything together on the same side of the equal sign. I can put together my 14 and my 2. So 14 plus 2 is 16 minus 1/5 x equals 10 plus 2/5 x. All right. So now we've got variables on both sides. Remember, we're collecting variables, collecting constants. So let's get rid of our 10. That leaves me with 6 minus 1/5 x is equal to 2/5 x. Okay, now you can multiply by 5 and get rid of your fractions, or you can kind of see it like this. So if you add 1/5 x to this side, right, those cancel and give you 0. So I've got 6 minus 0. If I add 1/5 to this side, what's 2/5 plus 1/5? That's 3/5 x. Okay, I'm going to write this up here. So I have 6 equals 3/5 x. Okay, just real quick, 3/5 x is the same thing as 3x over 5. Those are the same thing, so I'm going to write it like that. Okay, if I put my 6 over 1, I have a proportion that I'm doing 6 times 5 is 30. 1 times 3x is 3x. Divide by 3, and x is equal to 10. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of different ways to do this problem. If you're interested, I can show you a couple different ways, but I'm sticking with this way for the video. All right, number 9. Okay, it's pretty much the same. So we're going to multiply through by 1/2. So 1/2 times a is a over 2, and 1/2 times 6 is 3. Then we've got 3a over 2 minus 1. Okay, variables on both sides and constants. So let's add 1, add 1. Boom. So we have a over 2 plus 4 is equal to 3a over 2. Okay, so now I've got variables on both sides, and I've already collected my constants, so I want to subtract a over 2, and I'm going to subtract a over 2. Now remember, a over 2 is the same thing as 1a over 2. So if I have 3 over 2 minus 1 over 2, that gives me 2 over 2a. And what does 2 over 2 simplify to? It just simplifies to 1. So a is equal to 4. All right, number 10. Same thing. You look at the equation, you look at it, and you say, do I have parentheses? You do. So we're going to clear them. So 3 times 2x, 6x. 3 times negative 1, negative 3, plus 5. Then we do 6 times x, 6 times 1. Okay, so now we're going to combine things that can go together. So we have 6x plus 2 is equal to 6x plus 6. Okay, so we can do a couple things. If we take away 6x from this side and take away 6x from that side, we end up with 2 is equal to 6. Okay, is that correct? No, 2 is not equal to 6. So that means that you have an answer of no solution, which means that there is not a solution or a value for x that will make that a true statement, because, right, 6x and 6x are the same, right? So you can't have the same number and then add 2 different numbers and remain equal. It's just impossible to do so. All right, 11. This is one on the test a lot of you guys struggled with. Okay, whenever you see this, that is an ordered pair. It always means x, y, always. So if you look at that, you don't know what y is, but you know that x is equal to negative 1. Right, so all you're going to do is you're going to take the negative 1 and you're going to plug it in for x. So you have 2y is equal to negative 1 plus 5. So 2y is equal to 4. Divide by 2. and y is equal to 2. Okay? All right, and number 12. This is the same thing. Remember, this is always x and y. We don't know what x is, but we know that y is equal to negative 12, because this is your y value right here. So now I'm going to plug in negative 12 wherever I see a y. So negative 12 is equal to negative 1/3 x minus 2. Okay, two-step equation. So I'm going to add 2. I'm going to add 2. Okay, negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10 equals negative 1/3 x. Okay, so now I can change this to a proportion, and I get negative 30 is equal to negative x, sorry, negative x. I don't want to have a negative x, so that means that x is equal to positive 30. All right, make sure you guys go back and are able to work all of these questions. I will post another video that has the second part of this. Good luck.